Paul Donovan is Deputy Head of Global Economics at UBS Investment Bank. Welcome, Paul. Good to have you on the program, as always. What do you think about what Christine Lagarde is saying? Is the problem in Europe getting away from European leaders? Is it going to spiral out of control here?
Well, I think the problem, frankly, got away about 3 years ago, and they're still struggling to catch up. They always seem to be not just one step behind, but 2, 3, 4 steps behind. So, yes, I think we do have a problem with Europe. I mean, the bond markets have not reacted that well so far. We're still not seeing a great deal of support. There are some moves forward. We've got to acknowledge ECB is offering long-term money. Bond markets are going to be rigged, I think. We're going to get enforced buying of bonds, but this is still not a stable situation.
You've been predicting a failure of the Eurozone, or you have said that it's inherently flawed. I think most people would agree with you on that now. But the question is, are they going to succeed in their efforts towards more fiscal union, or are we going to see some sort of breakup?
Well, if you're an economist, it's all very easy. The problem of the euro is it doesn't work, and there are two solutions: integrate or die. Either we get more and more integration, and as Lagarde is saying, something which actually works, or you break up. I think the problem that we have is too many people still regard the eurozone as some kind of fixed exchange rate mechanism. It's not. It's not a fixed exchange rate. It's not a currency union. This is a monetary union. If you break up, the costs are horrific. Countries lose half their GDP. The economy's half in size. We get collapse of the banking system. We do then get a global depression on the scale of the 1930s, and we probably get extreme civil disorder up to and including civil war in Europe.
How scary is it that this is actually being contemplated?
Well, I don't think it's being contemplated by political leaders. What I tend to find is it's contemplated by investors outside of the Eurozone who perhaps don't understand the cultural issues or don't understand the political pressures to keep this project together. And as a result, they are speculating about breakup or what it would mean. Legally, it would be a nightmare. Politically, it would be a nightmare. Economically, it would be utterly devastating.
Civil war? Where's that going to happen?
Well, I mean, trying to predict that is always tricky. I mean, if you look at what has happened, though, I mean, if you're talking about a country losing half its economy, debauching the value of its currency, the banking system losing everything, the middle class losing their entire life savings, you're not going to get people sitting at home and saying, oh, well, never mind. You get people taking to the streets, you get huge amounts of social unrest, and that can then lead to things like dictatorships or civil war if you're going to go down that route. I mean, this is not a simple problem to solve.
So the market clearly shares your view, doesn't it? Because the euro has been resilient pretty much when you consider the level of the problems. I mean, people are betting that the worst-case scenario will not materialize because it's simply unconscionable.
I think that's it. Although, to be fair, I mean, if you think there's going to be a breakup, there's really nothing you can do other than own nothing in Europe whatsoever. You don't want to own France, you don't want to own Italy, you don't want to own Germany in the event of a breakup, because chaos ensues, the rule of law breaks down. What we're also seeing in Europe at the moment, though, I think, is enforced repatriation. The French government is picking up the phone to French life insurers and French banks and saying, you know what, might be a jolly good idea if you went out and bought some French bonds. Do it or else. And they're getting that forced repatriation where banks and life insurers are at least buying fewer overseas assets and being coerced into buying their domestic bonds.
This is the rigged bond market that you talk about. Very quickly, the ECB. Is it going to inevitably reverse tactic and step in and become the lender of last resort? Is it just using this tactic to try and force some structural change?
This isn't a tactic. It can't become lender of last resort to governments. It's illegal. It can become lender of last resort to banks, but not to governments.
Okay, Paul Donovan, we've got to leave it there. Thank you so much.